Oh, thank you.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Oh, it makes it feel like all this hard work is finally legitimized now that we can say that. I guess Canadian music has recognized us as a band.
I think in a lot of ways, bands in Canada and even the rest of the world, they look to you guys in protest as almost a template for what they wish could happen. You know?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We never do anything to try to get recognized or awards, but it's definitely nice to kind of get that recognition. So,
are there any singular items that you can attribute to your band's success, and what are they?
Yeah, I don't think there's one thing that we've done. There is nothing that the band has done that overnight it has changed from us being a small band to a bigger band or anything like that. But It's just hard work. I think touring is crucial. You have to be willing to spend 6 to 8 months of the year touring a record and playing all over the world if you want to be an internationally successful band. There's stuff that you can do online in promotion, but it's like people like seeing music in the flesh, and we've definitely put in our time touring, and it does pay off.
When bands ask you for advice, aside from tour hard, what do you say to them?
Yeah, I think it's important to just be hardworking and be willing to put the time in. Like, everyone can find success at different times in their career, and you want to be a musician for the reason that you love making music and you want to do it for a living. So nothing happens overnight, but if you're willing to put the time in, something will happen eventually. It's almost like it has to. The more you put into it, something's going to come out of it. So you can't be looking for instant results. It's like if you like those diets or trying to get fit, all the things they try to sell you, it doesn't work. But you just have to be willing to commit to something, and eventually, something will come of it. There's ways to make a living if you want to do it, and it might not be riches, fame, and fortune and all that stuff, but if you want to be a hardworking musician, there's definitely a way to do it. You definitely put the time into it.
This isn't your first Heavy Montreal. You played here before, right?
Yeah, I think we played 2 other ones.
Okay, cool. How did you find today in comparison? Was there a different vibe? Did you feel like it was different at all?
Yeah, it's definitely growing. Like, the headliners are getting bigger, and it seems like they're expanding into different genres of music, but it's definitely an awesome festival. I think, most of the other festivals that are kind of going on in and around Toronto and that I've seen, it's just like they don't compare. It's, so this has definitely found a way to get a step above there, and it's great to see that, because there's not a lot of stuff like this.
No, this feels European. I was walking around trying to get to the other stage, just going, this feels like I'm in Belgium or in Germany. Like, it's it's awesome. Finding the right mix of bands and not trying to have them all play off against each other. Like, we got to play 45 minutes today, where it's like we're used to in a North American festival, we maybe get 25, 30 minutes and 6 bands are playing at the same time as you. So it's like they found a good way where maybe there's 20 bands playing today and they still got tens of thousands of people coming out. So they did a really good job. Did you get to see anything today that you liked, or did you just load in and do your job?
I haven't yet. I guess I saw some stuff in passing, but I was hoping to maybe catch a little bit of Metallica set, and I can hear a little bit of Offspring now. So
Anthrax just finished off. So, what led you and your bandmates to crowdfunding for your 4th album, Volition?
We were just, when we were getting to that point where we've been writing and we were thinking of how we wanted to do the next record, obviously the question comes up is how are we going to pay for this?
Yeah.
And the problem when you're, shut everything down for writing, and, slowly the bank account runs dry. So we were kind of in a not a great financial place, and, record labels aren't paying bands like us a lot of money as an advance to make a record, and we didn't want to, be forging those new relationships. So we looked at crowdfunding, and we saw that a lot of bands that you wouldn't think would have success with labels were having success with crowdfunding. So it kind of looked like a new, fresh opportunity that not a lot of metal bands had tapped into. And we just kind of researched it, and we thought that there was a lot of potential there. And if it had failed, then we could go back with our tail between the legs to record labels and ask for money and find a way to make the record. But you know, it was just another option, something new and exciting that we wanted to try.
Were you all surprised when you achieved almost 3 times what you were hoping to get?
Absolutely. The nice thing about crowdfunding is it doesn't stop at 100%, so the potential's amazing there. I didn't think we'd get to where we ended up. I didn't think we'd get to our goal as quickly as we did, so it was humbling and it was surprising. It was nice to wake up in the morning after we had launched it and we were like 80%.
Yeah.
But it was the biggest thing. It was just a relief, and it put all our worries at ease that we're, you know, when we were unsure of how we're going to make the record, and just kind of shut all that off, and we could just focus in on making the record we wanted to make.
Did having that additional budget change the parameters and the way that you put the album together? Did you feel like you could do more and do different things?
Yeah, a little bit. Like, we didn't feel we were on the clock in the studio too much, and at the same time, with all those additional orders, a lot of the cost for things went up because we had to, you know, take care of all that stuff. So it was still kind of proportional, but it, you know, we just didn't have to worry at all about, you know, money. Not that we were, you know, taking limos to the studio and stuff like that, but it's just like we were able to record the record in a beautiful studio and just, you know, really take our time with it.
So, how did you wind up getting Chris Adler involved after your drummer exited?
We share the same manager.
Okay.
So he was a guy that came to mind. We knew that Lamb of God was kind of on hiatus with all the trial and all that stuff. So we thought maybe this is a good time. We had met Chris a couple times, and he seemed like a great guy and was a fan of the band. So he was kind of the first name that came to mind, and we just asked our manager to get in touch, and he was really interested. Kind of went
cool.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't think it really changed the sound of the album that much. It's kind of like he just got into your headset and did a great job drumming what you wanted to do. And I think the album sounds kind of
He definitely took the job as like a hired gun, where he's like, tell me what you want me to do.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things where like, here's a song, learn it. And then there was some songs that were like, you know, have some fun with this, do whatever you want. This is loose, whatever. So there's some stuff on there that I feel like is definitely his signature stuff, where it's like, that's Adler. But for the most part, you know, he was definitely playing different style drumming than he would with Lamb of God, so that was cool.
And I'm of the opinion he's one of the better drummers in the business, so you scored a master stroke on the album with that, so that's very cool.
Yeah, and again, I guess we have to thank the crowdfunding too, to have a, you know, be able to get someone like that too. So
what has been the biggest surprise to you guys working outside of the traditional label regimen on this album?
You know, afterwards, when the album was done, we still forged relationships with labels for distribution. We didn't really want to get into the game, so we still have these loose relationships, and outside of that, we just feel like we have our own independence. Like, it's really nice. You know, we've living through the first record contracts we were in, and now we're at a point where it's like we can just really do whatever we want, and no one's really gonna say anything about it. So it's nice to have that freedom. No pressure. No one's kind of breathing down your neck saying, like in the past, not that we did have any really bad experiences, but we always just felt a little bit of pressure. When's the next record? When's the next record? Stuff like that. But now I just feel like it's in our court, and we kind of can forge our own path however we want to do it.
Right. On an international scale, do you feel that Canadian musicians are respected in the music scene?
It's hard to say. You know, Canadian musicians. I think great bands come from all over the place, and they get respect. I don't know if overseas if people look to Canadians as certain musicians, but I know there's definitely been some that have really become international successes. But I haven't really noticed, or I've never really, you know, met people at shows be like, oh, you guys are Canadian, that's, you know, that's why we love you.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people just appreciate musicianship, and I don't think we have a reputation in Canada, but I think there's a lot of undiscovered big Canadian artists that kind of get big in Canada, and then they don't have anything outside, so there is a lot of talent in the country.
Let's talk a little bit about the video you just put out for Mist. It's pretty much a 9-minute love story to Newfoundland and its surrounding people and environments. You obviously went into the song and the video looking to do that, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like I think an undiscovered, little paradise or little oasis in Canada where, from a musician standpoint, there's so much, I guess, folk and Newfoundland music there, but a lot of bands won't go to play there just because it's kind of a hassle. And when we had gone there and went back a couple times, it just kept getting better and better. So it was one of those things where, we just loved it, and just the people there were great. Everyone is always so hospitable and friendly, and they'll invite you into their house for dinner, or just make sure that if you're a visitor that you have a great time. So it was just a lot different than a lot of the places that we've traveled to. So we thought I guess maybe would spread the word, or just do something where we can show the rest of the world why I guess people heard the song, they kind of got an idea, but I feel like the video really describes it, and people can visualize it, and they see the landscapes, and they can kind of see the environment, and I don't know, I just feel like it helps push that idea a little further.
How long did you work on that video? Like, it looked like there were a number of different site locations, you had some interiors.
Yeah.
There's some good camera coverage. It looks like you spent some time there.
Yeah, we were over there. We did 3 shows over there, and we had a guy with us filming, so he came around with us, and then we went back a month later and spent 4 days and did 1 day of running around, tourism stuff.
Right.
But we were able to cram it in pretty quickly, but I think it was 3 days of shooting.
Nice.
So it's unfortunate we couldn't get really too far outside of St. John's, but there's a lot of landscape there, but the whole province is beautiful.
Did that require any special permissions from the locale for you to film in some of those areas? Did you have to?
We just did a guerrilla style. Yeah, we just showed up. By the time, if we were get in trouble, by the time someone came, we would have been out of there anyways. So.
Nice. How many times do you figure you've played there since the first time that you played there with your band?
Yeah, I think it's 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But it's definitely great. Every time the shows always somehow seem to get better every time we come.
What's your favorite album of 2014 so far, and why?
Jeez. I think it came out this year, but I've recently just been exposed to this band called Snarky Puppy. They're a bunch of Berkeley musicians. It's this really, I don't know what to call it, kind of fusion jazz instrumental, but they have a video where it's just live performance of them playing, and all the players are just off the chains with just weird time signatures and feel good music, but really technical and awesome. So I've been listening to the Snarky Puppy record, and it's nice to get outside of the metal world